Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are living in very interesting times. As you can see, today I'm standing in my position as a Chief Whip of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, and I want to thank the former Chief Whip, Boni Khalwale, for being so gracious and accepting and walking away and sitting in an undisclosed location. Mr. Speaker, as I support this motion, allow me to begin by condemning the utterances by one governor of Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga, when he insulted my community, when he called my community people who walk without underwears. Mr. Speaker, that is completely uncouth and uncalled for. And Governor Kahiga must understand that we are here as one nation, and that type of divisive politics is uncalled for, and it should not be allowed in this country. You cannot go and demean another community. You should allow a community to be able to be fully represented, and you cannot go out there and shame a community. Shame on you, Governor what was his name? Anaitwa nani? Kahiga, Governor Kahiga. I mean, seriously. When will we as leaders have a sense of occasion? They're in a burial. People are crying. They are bereaved. And then you go there, you start your politics. Why don't you go and use the money from the county government that you're used to using to go and call for a rally to be able to go and insult other people? It's about time that we learn the sense of occasion. So shame on you, Governor Kahiga, and the Maasai community will not stand. And as I represent that community, I will not stand and see you shaming my community. You know, if it was in those eras, we'll deal with you. But now, we just want to call you for your utterances, which do not have a position in this republic. Mr. Speaker, really, as leaders, we must respect other communities. You know, it is completely unethical, uncouth, and uncivilized for Governor from Nyeri, Kahiga, to be able to use a funeral to look down on another community. This is not back then when they are first-class and second-class citizens. This is when all of us are equal, and we'll point out that we are really equal. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I support the distinguished members of this Senate who have been proposed to serve in the House Business Committee. I serve in that committee, and I know the amount of work that committee have to deal with. That is the committee that decides really the kind of business that we deal with. And I want to correct the view that the previous committee did not do its work. The previous committee really worked well, worked very hard. And in fact, the Secretariat did a fantastic job during our retreat to be able to put facts on the table, to say these are the businesses that were guided by the House business. This is what we concluded. I think what we need to now deliberate on is how do we ensure that any business that leaves the upper house of the Senate and goes down to the lower house in the National Assembly, that business is concluded. That is a task now. We believe that Senator Crystal Asige, Senator Faki, Senator Asigi, Senator Roba, distinguished gentlemen, and all the other distinguished senators who have been given an opportunity to serve in the House business will be able to crack to ensure that we conclude our task. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and I just repeat by saying, shame on you, Governor, I don't know his name, Kahiga.
Senator Esther Okenyuri. Sorry?
Yeah, finally.
Senator,
thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What did you say?
Finally, my chance has come. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also wish to support the composition of that House Business Committee. and I'm looking forward to prioritization of very key legislative agenda, Mr. Speaker. And allow me at this juncture, just as a sponsor of the Protection of Livelihood Bill, to give my condolences to sad news I'm reading on the internet about the demise of one Tyson Aminga, a small trader who's been hustling. He's a driver of a Noah, and he's been missing for quite some time. And this afternoon, we are gathering news that the body has been discovered at City Mortuary. He was actually hired by people who he thought were actually customers but were thieves. So I hope the investigative agencies are going to look and comb deep into this matter, because we have so many of our people who are trying to make ends meet through such kind of business. So, Mr. Speaker, I equally look forward to resurfacing of the civic education bill, because we dearly need that one as a country right now. It can actually solve most of the issues we are facing as, in this democratic space we are in, not just for our citizens, but it will tackle so many other issues, even in interpreting some of the matters which are being raised by honorable members in this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mogeni, Elick.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, what is the problem? Majority leader or minority leader? Yes. Mr. Speaker, you know, I don't know, even people who know the truth, Mr. Speaker, seem
Senator
to be in a panic mood.
You know, I gave you an opportunity to contribute.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I think you need to settle.
Honorable Senators, I think we are really like. Proceed, Senator Mugeni.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, can you protect me? Can you protect me, Mr. Speaker?
Andy Okech. Senator Andy, Senator Sifuna, Senator Chalgei, what is your point of honor?
Yes, I must be heard in this House. Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on Standing Order 100 and Article 124 of the Constitution of Kenya on the establishment and committee of standing orders. Did you hear? The Parliamentary Service Commissioner, where the majority side, we assisted him to become the commissioner, calling Mr. Speaker, calling the majority, Mr. Speaker. We are allowing bad precedent in this House, Mr. Speaker. Let the standing orders be followed, even if there is a court order, which I am not aware of, which is not there, Mr. Speaker. You can howl and shout at the long you want. Mr. Speaker, Senator Sifuna should be visiting telling Sakaja to fix potholes which are deeper than dimples instead of shouting us in the House. Mr. Speaker, can you direct the Parliamentary Service Commissioner, Senior Counsel Okongo Mugeni, who is now embarrassing the people who are learning from him by calling the majority leader minority to withdraw and apologize to the majority leader and the House, Mr. Speaker? I don't know why the minority are making noise. Mr. Speaker, can you at least tell them to follow the law? Let us follow the Constitution, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, just for the record, and because I know Senator Cherage is slow in reading some of this judgment, I've been magnanimous enough just now and I've sent him the petition from High Court, petition 202 of 2023. Mr. Speaker, if you can permit, may you direct Senator Cherage to withdraw from the House, go and read the judgment, understand it, then he comes back to the House, Mr. Speaker. Because I know he's a junior lawyer, he has not, he doesn't catch up very quickly with some of these new developments of jurisprudence. So if you give him about half an hour, he will withdraw, read the judgment. I've just sent it to him now. He will need like 30 minutes. When he comes back, I'm sure he will be well knowledgeable on the happenings around. Now, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I first want to, on a serious note, support the membership that has been proposed to go to HBC. And also just tell the Senate that there is a lot that is happening in terms of legislations, Mr. Speaker. This new team is taking office at a time when, after the deliberations that we had in Naivasha, we have a constitutional amendment bill that has been proposed by the National Assembly that is undergoing pre-publication scrutiny, and at the time that we also have a bill as a Senate that was approved by senators in Naivasha. Mr. Speaker, if there is a time that we as senators need to demonstrate courage and show leadership, the time is now. And reading the names of the members who have been proposed, I have no doubt, Mr. Speaker, that these are men and women who have demonstrated their courage before this House, and they will be able to guide the business that should come to this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let's also, as a Senate, be conscious that we are not here to be spanner boys of National Assembly. We also have our own legislative agenda as a Senate. Because I was privileged. I was invited to sit in Naivasha for 3 days when National Assembly was undertaking their retreat. And Mr. Speaker, every agenda that was put on the table was to push the agenda of National Assembly. So let us also bear in mind that we are here to push the legislative agenda of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, some of the judgments that we get from our courts are supposed to guide us, Majority Leader. Some of these judgments are supposed to remind us that we should be men and women of honor. When I raise this issue here in this afternoon, I'm not questioning the fact that the Kenya Kwanza coalition is the majority. But there are some decisions that we have made that go against the judgment that came from the High Court. I know, as a fact, that when we came here, UDA had 22 senators, then there was one from Ford Kenya and one from DP. That gave you 24. If you add the 8 that were nominated, you are 34. You are majority. But there are some things you have done which are very unprocedural, including the name that you have put before us this afternoon, which goes against the judgment that was issued by the court last week. You have given the name of Ali Roba as coming from the majority side, Mr. Speaker. You know, Speaker, no. You know, Mr. Speaker, these House as members who are called honorable. When you are an honorable member, you are an honorable member, you are supposed to be honorable. Like I appreciate this afternoon that the will of the people. If you read the judgment is telling us that once you finish an election, you must respect the will of the people. That's what the judgment is saying, Mr. Speaker. And when we concluded the elections, UDA was not in the majority side. I mean, what is so difficult about that? You know, Mr. Speaker, if you tell Kenyans that you don't want to respect court orders, one day it will come to bite you. Listen to us. I know you have 24. You are the majority. We don't refute. But which side was UDA? UDA was not on that side of the coalition. UDM. That's the point we are saying, Mr. Speaker. You have brought a name here this afternoon from the majority side, and you have included, in fact, 2. So if you can't accept some of the best, at times the High Court gives you an easy way out. You should respect court orders. We have even the president of this republic is in office because we respected a court order. Majority Leader. No, it doesn't matter. Mr. Speaker, at times, the country should be bigger than us individuals. A country should be bigger than us individuals. Because when a High Court has made a decision, Mr. Speaker, they make decisions and we respect. Oftentimes, we express our views as lawyers that we may not agree, but we respect. So we expect, Mr. Speaker, the government of the day to also respect court orders. Otherwise, we will degenerate into anarchy. if you are a student of history, Mr. Speaker, you know that countries that have fallen, it's because they first began by disobeying court orders and not having what lawyers will call a state of rule of law, Mr. Speaker. So in this afternoon, how do you bring these names for the Senate to approve them when the High Court has given direction that the will of the people is determined at the end of an election, not what you do after the people have expressed their will, Mr. Speaker.
Senator
So,
Oroba,
Mr. Speaker,
just a minute, Senator Okongo Mugeni. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I stand on a point of order on factual information, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our commissioner and my senior from Kisii County is actually alluding that UDM from Nyamira, Gusii region, Nyamira County. Mr. Speaker, Senator Omogeni is alluding that there is actually no coalition agreement between UDM and UDA. Mr. Speaker, allow me, and he has said that repeatedly, that it is the will of the people, Mr. Speaker. As I sit here in my designated position today, Mr. Speaker, I have even witnessed and heard from the other side of the Senate, Mr. Speaker, of chambers, the UDM representatives actually confirming that they do have an agreement with UDA, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, you know, the public is listening to us. And what Senator Omogeni is trying to say, my point of order is that the information he is giving about the relationship, whether a coalition or other, is between UDM and UDA, Mr. Speaker, is not factual, Mr. Speaker. And that is what I would like for him to clarify and correct, because from where I stand, and I am a member of UDA, with information that we have a coalition agreement between UDM and UDA, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, then that should be clarified so that it does not come out that we are forcing issues, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, you also talked about the will of the people, Mr. Speaker. Everyone who is sitting in these chambers, Mr. Speaker, is representing their people. And every single day we come here to articulate on issues, we are articulating on issues on behalf of the people. So to say that the coalition agreement is not the will of the people, Mr. Speaker, is actually non-factual, Mr. Speaker. And I would like for Senator Omogeni, with all respect, because as I've said, he's my senior from Gusii region and our commissioner, and I look up to him, Mr. Speaker, I would ask him kindly to withdraw that non-factual statement and apologize.
Senator Mugeni, your junior senator from Gusii region has requested kindly for clarification.
You know, at times I struggle.
Because she's running a lot from you. Maybe you can.
I've really
go ahead and do that.
I've really struggled to understand what is the point of order. There's no point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mugeni,
there's no point of order in that, Mr. Speaker. And okay. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, in demonstrating that we remain the upper house, and for the benefit of senators,
dismiss the senator who just requested for clarification. If I heard she requested for a clarification whether UDA has a coalition agreement with UDM or Kenya Kwanza as a coalition with agreement with UDM.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, just like what I did to Senator Cheragei, and luckily they are sitting together, I've also taken the liberty of forwarding the High Court judgment in petition 202 of 2023 to Senator Oroba. She can read it, digest it, but I also undertake to the House, Mr. Speaker, that as a responsible leader from the Gusii Nation, when I sit down, I'll sit next to her, I explain to her slowly the import of the High Court decision, so that when she speaks next time, she will speak from a point of information.
On the senators.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator